And when the patient woke up, his skeleton was missing, and the doctor was never heard from again!
Boots on the ground, boys! Screaming Eagle! Ah!
Anyway, that's how I lost my medical license.
Ah! Medic Gaming! Ah!
How embarrassing!
Medic! Oh, no!
Oh, God.
The Spade! I can finally cover this item because it's been updated. And for the better, dare I say. As is tradition, let's hear what Bubbles has to say first and foremost about this thing.
This weapon can reach deep into the ground, which can help with making barricades much sturdier and more resilient to damage. The technique for it is rather simple, but I'm sure a soldier like yourself understands how to do it.
Thank you, Bubbles. One day I'll make a video showing all his dialogue, but today is not that day. On to the stats of the weapon. So she costs 600 francs from the store. Relatively inexpensive, dare I say. It does 35 damage, 3 penetration, and a swing rate of 1.2 seconds. It also has varying range, being 6 studs from an up or side swing, and 7 studs from the down swing, or like the pierce swing, whatever you call it. Now, on the surface, this weapon seems really crap. Like, it's more or less comparable to the stake, right? But you see the length of this video, there's a little more under the hood than meets the eye. For now, let's just look at the use cases of the shovel's melee in a vacuum. It's relatively weak and just kinda sucks, honestly. Like, it can do its job as a melee weapon, don't get me wrong. It just isn't very good. You'll definitely be relying heavily on your buildings, especially stakes, in order to take down zombies. And you may also have to rely on your teammates as well, but we all know how teammates can be in Guts and Blackpowder. Don't even get me started on mobile servers, jeez. It really isn't the weapon to use when going solo. It more or less requires a decent team for teamwork or your building. Luckily, unlike the Spontoon, it isn't a major flaw to not have a competent team. It is just really handy since it just plainly sucks. Ooh, headshot, another one! That's right, headshots are so important they're getting their own section. If you headshot a zombie, first you get a 1.4 times multiplier for the headshot, so you deal a little bit extra damage. That's always nice. But you can also stun them. Unlike the other sapper weapons, you can't press F on this one to stun them, but you can just whack them in the head to stun them. I find the side swing to be the best way to get the stun, and like another thing is like going into first person, that also helps me get the stun. And it's more or less the same stun as any other sapper weapons, just like whack them in the head and they stumble back a bit. And of course, the stun only works on zappers and shamblers. Runners, they just die, because you're still whacking them with the shovel, it still does damage. And of course, common sense, don't go trying to shove bombers or zero seers. You're not going to have a nice time. Also note, unlike the other sapper weapons, you can't stun a zapper mid-swing. You can stun them regularly with a headshot, but just not when they're swinging, so it's kind of like an opposite of the other sapper weapons. And this circles to my other point. I don't know if it was just me and my major skill issue, but I found stunning zombies to be relatively difficult. Like, I wasn't consistently stunning zombies by any regard. It was more so like every once in a while I accidentally made one stumble. Could just be a skill issue of mine, but I thought it was worth pointing out not to rely on the stun. Right, it was just like a little bonus that came around a couple times. It's a good utility, but not so much reliable. There is, of course, more to this than meets the eye. Again, if you use a downward swing at one of your barricades, you can also then stun zombies. This only stuns them for about half the duration, but it still stuns them. But again, it has to be a downward swing at your barricades, like they're attacking your buildings. I'm evil because I'm saving the best part for last, but I also wanted to go over some map related thingies with the spade. Akin to the pickaxe, that video will come out eventually, you can use the spade on certain objectives where shovels are usually used. For instance, in Vardøhus Fortress, you can use it to dig up the snow objectives. It can actually help your team get a head start if you start digging the snow immediately after spawning in. Furthermore, you can use it to dig up the mounds in the Road to Sleepy Hollow. Doesn't really speed anything up in that map too much, but it's just a cool factoid to know. Like, if they add any other maps that require shovels, then obviously the spade will be able to do that. As of this video releasing, those are the only 2 maps that really use shovels. Now for the part we are all presumably waiting for, entrenchment! So entrenchment works by digging 2 of your 3 buildings into the ground, these buildings being barricades and stakes. I'll go over them separately in a momento. For now I just want to look at entrenching itself. You use F or your device's equivalent, so normally your shove key, and your character will briefly do this digging animation. Note that switching weapons while entrenching will not entrench the building. Also, just keep in mind that entrenching can be a little unreliable, like sometimes the game won't recognize you're trying to entrench your buildings for some reason, but that's just Roblox jank, oh well. Entrenching works on all floors except wooden ones for some reason. Like it comes up with this little message, don't expect me to understand how on earth someone gets dirt from a cobblestone road to entrench their barricades. Like, the floors must have been absolutely filthy for them to just scrape up all of the crap on the floor and put it together around the building, like mound around the building. There are of course exceptions to this rule. For instance, and they're probably going to patch this out, I don't know, but the dock in Roscoff must be absolutely filthy, terribly dirty, since you can easily entrench your buildings on it for some reason. And, I mean, that absolutely makes no sense, because, like, it's a dock. Oh well. I think it's the same in Vardøhus too. Makes no sense. And that is the cosmetic difference to see if your buildings are or aren't entrenched, the dirt mound beneath it. And it would be cool if the devs added like a different highlight, like maybe a different colored highlight around the building, whether it's entrenched or not, because if you're in a dark area you can't really see that dirt mound very well. And also another little thing, another suggestion for the devs, on snowy maps like Vardøhus Fortress or, you know, Berezina, and especially in the areas where there's like a ton of snow, would it not make more sense for the entrenched buildings to have like snow as the entrenchment? I'm a humble Australian. I've only ever touched snow once in my life, so I clearly have no idea what I'm talking about, but I think it will be a cool detail to add. Interestingly, with entrenching, you can go around and entrench your teammates' buildings, similar to how you can help repair your teammates' buildings. Now, please, for the love of God, and this is like a major announcement for all of you goobly goops out there, when you entrench your buildings, it does not magically add extra health, you still have to repair it with the hammer. Please, don't go around entrenching buildings and not whacking it with the hammer. You're just changing the look of it in a few stats. You have to hit it with the hammer after entrenching. I've seen so many silliest goobers who entrench buildings left and right without repairing them. It annoys me a lot and I'm crashing out about it. Also note that you can only entrench buildings that are near completion. You can't entrench heavily damaged or unbuilt buildings. Okay, calm down Mr. Prof Man. Onto the buildings. If you'd like to know more about the buildings themselves, I'd suggest my hammer video. I'll link that in the top right. For now, I'll just be going over the entrenched versions of the barricades and stakes. So barricades! Everyone's favorite generalized defense. It increases the health of barricades by 50 health points. It's quite a lot. Not only that, it also makes the barricade more resistant to certain zombie attacks. It reduces the damage dealt by shamblers by 35% and the damage dealt by runners by 25%. It can also halt a Zoroseer in its tracks, as long as it has high enough health. This makes a entrenched barricade especially useful in certain maps, such as St. Petersburg, all those Zoroseers everywhere. But of course, must be at high enough health, as in after you entrench it, you have to whack it with a hammer. And unlike normal barricades, they can actually survive a bomber's detonation as long as there is a 5 to 6 stud distance. That means if you place like stakes in front of your barricades, bonus points if they're entrenched, which we will talk about next, they can withstand a bomber explosion. Do note, if the building goes to like 5-ish% of the original health, it will be de-entrenched. So if it gets too damaged, you'll need to re-entrench it. It's a bit of a tongue twister. As you can see, really adds to barricades. And this is where the video would have ended before the most recent update. The stakes. Everyone's favorite pointy wooden sticks are now entrenchable, which is amazing. You can recreate one of those horrible scenes from the Napoleon movie which makes no historical sense whatsoever. One of the things I didn't really like about the stakes is that they weren't very strong, right? They were really weak. They didn't really last that long. And now they're super strong. They're awesome. The only thing with the spade does, right? The only thing, unlike the barricades to get all these extra stats, the spade just adds 30 health to the stakes. But that is 30 extra health to deal with zombies attacking the stakes. It's awesome. It's amazing. Great change. Love the spade. It makes the stakes beautiful. Mwah, chef's kiss. So the good old spade. This tool has so many amazing abilities, entrenching, map objectives, stuns. However, it completely sucks as a weapon. It's a good way to balance the spade, sure, but it also leaves the sapper more or less defenseless, especially in maps where teams continuously move around, think London or Westminster, those sorts of maps. Overall, solid pick for a sapper weapon. Just keep in mind, you are left rather defenseless if you try any offensive tactics, and you'll find yourself relying a bit more on your team. If you already rely on your axe a lot, then I don't think the spade would be too much for you. If you're already well and sorted, you rely on your buildings a lot, then the spade is definitely a better weapon for you. But that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching as always, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you when I see you.